Welcome to the Skylanders Ultimate Soul Gem Locke. As a quick refresher on the rules, I can only use a Skylander once I collect their Soul Gem. I start with Ghost Roaster, Terrafin, Sunburn, and Slam Bam, which are the Adventure Pack characters. Also, if a Skylander dies, I cannot use them again for the rest of the run. And a Skylander dies once they take any damage at all. It's essentially a mix of a Soul Gem playthrough, a Damageless run, and a Permadeath lock. The first few levels usually go pretty smoothly and allow for me to build up my collection slowly by obtaining new Soul Gems to be used later on. This is my 21st attempt so far. If you're keeping up and wondering about attempt 20, I died twice in Darkwater Cove and Reset. But so far this run, that level has been treating me nicely. Even in the easy levels, I still like to come up with safe strategies like this one. Reducing my risk of death in any way can help out a lot. The water boss fight is up, and Zap tends to be my go-to counter. When facing Gilgrunt, I messed up my dodge and took damage, meaning Zap is dead. Burrowing underground with Terrafin is always a great way of avoiding damage, and it works out here very nicely. Slam Bam goes down easy using the same exact method. Terrafin is probably the single best character for this challenge. He can dig underground to avoid all damage while still doing huge damage in return. He's unlocked right from the start, and as long as you can safely unburrow when his dig timer is running out, then he's completely safe. Chop Chop's got his shield, and Ghost Roaster can become intangible, but the shield doesn't block attacks from all different angles, and Ghost Roaster damages himself with that attack and can attack during it. So I think Terrafin is the most manageable downside. Not to mention that Chop Chop comes really late in this challenge, and if Ghost Roaster damages himself, that also counts. The Stone Golem fight goes over without a hitch, as dodging its boulders isn't a huge issue for me anymore. At this point, I'm pretty familiar with the game and its levels, which definitely helps out a lot in that regard. Lightning Rod gets momentarily trapped by these spearmen, but luckily I did get out in time. In the next level, Sonic Boom proceeds to take care of every enemy in the local area. At this point in the run, there's been only one death, which is quite good. My Deathless PB is getting past level 7, but this is still an incredible start. Soon enough, however, a particularly devious Spellpunk decides to block my otherwise safe escape route, and Sonic Boom does die. I mean, 2 deaths still at this point in the game is very good. These trolls don't even stand a chance against my lightning strikes. But this jump was very needlessly dangerous. I definitely could have died there. For the next boss fight, I went with the same strategy as the last, which was the backup, using Terrafin's burrow to dodge everything, and it works out pretty well for me. Interestingly, Stump Smash can hit you with the acorns while you're underground, but they don't deal damage, they only slow you down, so it's completely safe. And not only are they not a threat, but they can actually help my strategy. When slow, Terrafin can hit several extra times with the dorsal fin before he moves too far away to reach his enemy. And even all 3 minions at once is no big issue for me, just as long as I can take them out in quick succession, which as it turns out is very doable with Terrafin. Troll Warehouse is one of the few levels I've found where Stealth Elf is a reliably good option, and because I get to use her, this level is usually easy. Except later in the level, there is a close call and I almost died to an off-screen gun snout. And that happens around here. And then, after I defeat it, I dove straight into some enemies who I forgot about and gave them a good chance to attack. Luckily, I did not die there. But Goof Factory's minions are capable of finishing the job, leading to death number 3. And to follow that up, the turrets in the next level are always very dangerous, and in this case, they shoot me down before I can destroy them myself. Those turrets always seem to be so much more threatening than the troll tank boss fight itself. No one can even stand a chance against Prison Break in Crawling Catacombs. His area coverage helps out a lot, and I genuinely think he's a really good character in this challenge. So, it's possible that I didn't notice this archer lived, and started attacking, leaving myself vulnerable instead of running away. Losing Terrafin is a pretty big blow, but the rest of the level is cleared without any more issues. The issue arises in the next level. Watch closely at this archer in the back. I didn't notice this at all while playing, but he's able to shoot an arrow just before dying, which somehow finds its way towards me. And this right here is a prime example of why we don't run by the pool. All enemies throughout the rest of the level turn out to be no real issue, mostly through using long range to capitalize on their slow speed. For the first section of the boss fight, I have Drill Sergeant run and gun until the job is done. This part is easy enough because Ghost Roaster doesn't seem to understand how to turn while dashing. Gilgrunt attacks Chop Chop's shield a few too many times and causes this to happen. I promise I understand how that attack works now, and I'll be more prepared to prevent it from happening in the future. If you're also unaware, attacking the shield causes him to absorb energy and unleash the Demon Shadow Hyper Beam thing. And it's back to Drill Sergeant for minion number 3. During the lasers I may have gotten cornered, but we're not going to pay much attention to that. And afterwards, I accidentally defeat Hex before getting any damage on the other 2 minions, resulting in the lasers coming back much sooner than I would have liked. I can quickly get one more with Bash's high power, but Ghost Roaster is a bit more elusive, and I really should have swapped to a ranged Skylander right at the end. But instead I have a really close call with the trap, and then I intercept the dash with the finishing blow. This enemy here managed to get stuck, which helps out a lot in setting up a risk-free kill. I also take full advantage of this Elemental Zone boost before starting the next boss fight. I again decided to use Drill Sergeant, making absolute sure to stay as far away as possible as I could. Sunburn, as you expect, is easy as always, just make sure not to throw. An Eruptor instantly corners me. He clearly wasn't intimidated by the pickaxe I somehow brought with me to the arena. I then try and roll in with Bash because he had just used an Eruption attack, not realizing that he could choose to do another one right away. And Flameslinger proves to do some really quick work, and he's able to run away in time. He can even take on the final phase of the fight against fire with the classic "they can't kill you if you kill them first" technique. Works every time. Until you run headfirst into a lava trap. The last sliver of HP is taken down with Cinder, who also does a great job in the next level. Dashing past enemies makes it pretty difficult for them to hit you. Except sometimes they can do this. He hit me from behind with the wind-up of the swing. What is this? This situation is looking kinda dire, and I take literally 1 damage. I didn't know an attack dealt 1 damage in this game. And another attack connects later on from these Ultrons. Just when I think I'm safe, a bit later on, an orb goes through the floor and explodes from within the stairs, killing Chop Chop. I thought right there the orb had despawned, but apparently not. That's 3 deaths in this level, leaving 17 Skylanders alive for the final chapter, which is by far the most I've ever had at this point. I think my 2 other attempts to this point in the game have had 5 and 3 alive respectively, so this is an insane improvement. I tried getting these enemies through the wall, but I couldn't seem to get it to work. They did end up just getting stuck behind the crystals though moments later. Let's take the right path this time. And for the first time ever in this challenge, Double Trouble is unlocked. I'm making very certain to keep my distance from these enemies, as they're slow enough to allow me to run away, even as Prison Break. If I can alleviate any risk, I'll try to do so. That being said, it would have been leagues safer for me to rush down these tech spell punks here instead of allowing them to trap me and take down Prison Break. I decided to test out my newest teammate, and he quickly proved he would be a great asset to the team. The ability to attack while focused more on dodging or running away is a quality I wish I could get more of in this challenge. Not to mention that any minion spawner at all works wonders for distractions. This entire arena goes over without a hitch. Even the stronger enemies fall to Double Trouble's power after just a few seconds. And finally, on attempt 21, I have my first battle against Chaos. I've got 16 Skylanders left, which is absolutely nuts compared to my other runs. Whamshell leads us off, but I quickly realize that he won't be able to defeat the minions nearly as quickly as I need him to, so Double Trouble comes in to take his place. DT can deal a ton of damage to the boss before I need to worry at all about dodging, and in order to not risk losing him, I swap in Whirlwind in a bit. The hardest part of this boss fight will likely be the times when Chaos summons his elemental magic, which needs to be dodged, but I also need to make sure that I'm damaging him. Especially the undead attack. I really thought I was out of range there. That one felt kinda unfair. I barely had enough time to run. And I probably shouldn't have attacked there just to be sure I dodged, but still. Where has this character been all my life? Imagine if I could have unlocked him early on in the run, how much easier it would be to defeat all the bosses and any other big tough enemies. All of his moves seem to have such a useful purpose. I bet he'd be one of the easiest Skylanders to do a solo run with. The damage is slowly building up as I weave in and out of all these Doom Sharks. I also eventually found out that DT can deal damage so fast that Chaos's minions don't even get a chance to attack me before I move on to the next phase. And some of the enemies take so long spawning in that they can be almost entirely defeated before throwing out a single punch. For those who I can't beat in that way, just send in the exploding double to do the job for me. Some more dodging underway. That first orb should have totally hit me too. At this point in the run, Double Trouble has stayed alive for so much longer than I ever could have anticipated. My plan was to just have him deal as much damage as possible before dying, but he's outlasting my expectations of how long that would be by a lot. Not even Chop Chop can stop me now. It's just a matter of continuing to use the Eldritch Beam until their HP reaches 0. The dreaded Undead spell is up next, but I somehow managed to avoid taking a death here, even while getting in a bunch of damage. A few more minions come in to try and slow me down, but they stand no chance at this point. For the fast enemies, just summon some doubles and run away. For the slow ones, lock on the beam and walk away slowly. There are no swarms in this fight, but even if there were, DT would have the answer for that too with the magic bombs. Ranged enemies can still be a bit of an issue, but I manage. The fire spell seems easy enough to dodge. Damage is being dealt so quickly that Chaos leaves before his minions even attack. And after Chaos heals up for the last phase, I just need to survive a magic spell onslaught and deal damage. This life spell finally gives me a real reason to use my magic bombs. The health goes down much faster this time around because Chaos actually stays vulnerable for long periods of time instead of running so often. Double Trouble continues just dodging spell after spell. No one else on the team even needs to contribute. At this point, I don't even have anything else to say. Double Trouble has just been blowing away my every expectation. But just before the end, the dang undead spell has to rear its ugly little head and stop me in my tracks. From here on, the ending is quite sloppy, and I even lost 2 more Skylanders after Double Trouble. I'm just trying to take down the last sliver of health, but I can't seem to do it. Whamshell joins in for the last 1 HP to win the fight and finish the game. Here's a look at my ending roster, shown in order of deaths and when I obtain them. Next video, I'll be taking these 11 survivors into Giants to continue the run.